All right, everyone. Today we're going to start our look at the unit circle. So in this video today, we're going to look at all the angles and degrees and radians and also the coordinate points of each one. So let's start with what is the unit circle. Well, a circle is just a circle that we've learned earlier in this year. But the word unit in front of it means that the radius is 1 unit. Okay, so it's a circle whose radius is 1, and we center it at the origin. We center it at 0, 0. Now, in order to do this, we have to remember what we learned first semester in a special right triangles unit. Okay, so we looked at 30, 60, 90s, and 45, 45, 90s in that unit. In a 30, 60, 90, if the small angle here is 30, the bigger angle is 60, and then we have a right angle here. Remember, the setup was W across from 30, W root 3 across from 60, and 2W across from 90. So what we're going to do is we're going to let the hypotenuse equal 1 and solve that for W. We get 1/2. So this side would be 1/2, and this side would be root 3 over 2, which means this coordinate point, let's say this coordinate point here was 0, 0. This coordinate point up top here would be root 3 over 2, comma, 1/2. And a 45, 45, 90, remember both legs were equal to each other. Again, if we set the hypotenuse equal to 1, now the hypotenuse is equal to W root 2 in this, so if we solve that, we should get root 2 over 2. And that is what both legs were equal to, W, so both legs are equal to root 2 over 2. So now we can start to build our circle. Recently we talked about the angles in the circle. Okay, so we know these angles already. Let's just talk about them again. The positive x-axis is 0. All right, and then we talk about a 30-degree angle, a 45-degree angle, a 60-degree angle, and then the first quadrant is 90 degrees, so the top angle there is 90 degrees. And then we also learned how to convert these into radians. So we did this in our unit circle practice the other day. 0 degrees is 0 radians, and then up from there is pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, and pi over 2. Remember, if you don't remember those numbers, you can always convert each degree to radian by multiplying by pi over 180. Okay, so now the points. Well, this point right here, if the radius is 1, remember, this point right here would just be 1, 0. And this point up here, if the radius is 1, would just be 0, 1. The 30-degree angle. So basically, you think of this as a right triangle here, a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. And we just remembered that across from 30 is 1/2, across from 60 is root 3 over 2. So this would be root 3 over 2, and this would be 1/2. So the coordinate point would be root 3 over 2, comma, 1/2. Then for the 45, and we have a 45, 45, 90 here, we learned that both legs were root 2 over 2. So this is root 2 over 2, this is root 2 over 2. So my coordinate point would be root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. And then for the 60 degree, this is also a 30, 60, 90, just flipped on its side. Remember, across from 30 would be 1/2, across from 60 would be root 3 over 2. So my coordinate point would be 1/2, comma, root 3 over 2. So that's the first quadrant. We got 3 more to go, but the good news is if you know the first quadrant and you know your reference angles, the last 3 quadrants are going to be really simple. Okay, because all these coordinate points here that you see are the same in each quadrant. The only difference might be there might be a negative sign in front of them. So take a look at quadrant 2. Again, I already got the angles filled in for us there because we learned this the other day. So starting at 90 and then 30 extra would be 120, and 135, 150, and 180. And again, converting those to radians, we get these here. So first, let's do the top. This point, again, would be 0, 1. And the left, again, if the radius is 1, That point would be -1, 0, because we're to the left of the origin. The other 3 coordinate points are going to be exactly the same as these 3. So 1/2 √3/2, √2/2, √2/2, and √3/2, 1/2. So those points are exactly the same. Let's go ahead and throw those in. 1/2 √3/2 would be this point right here. This point right here would be √2/2, √2/2. And this point right here would be √3/2, 1/2. The only difference is, since we're in the second quadrant, the x-coordinate over here would be negative. The y-coordinate is still positive. But what we're going to do is we're going to add in a negative sign in front of the x-coordinates of each of these. In the third quadrant, again, let's start with the quadrantal angles, the left and the bottom. So the left would be -1, 0. We already did that one. Now the bottom down here, since this is 1, this would be 0, -1. My other 3 points will again be the same as the first 2 quadrants. So the first one would be √3/2, 1/2. The second one would be √2/2, √2/2. And the third one would be 1/2 √3/2. But now we're in the third quadrant. So what coordinate is negative in the third quadrant? X and Y are negative. So both of these will get a negative sign in the third quadrant. Finally, our fourth quadrant. So again, let's start with the left and the right and the bottom here. So the bottom, we just did that. It's 0, -1. And the right side, we did that in the first quadrant. That's 1, 0. All right, now our other 3 points are exactly the same. √3/2, 1/2. √2/2, √2/2. And 1/2 √3/2. And what coordinate point is negative in the fourth quadrant? X is positive because we're to the right, but Y is negative because we're down below the origin. So the Y coordinates are all negative. But again, they're the same as the last 3 quadrants. Okay? So that is all the points on the unit circle that we'll have to know. But we'll talk a lot more about patterns here in the next couple days. If you know your first quadrant, quadrants 2, 3, and 4 should come relatively easy. And that is the end of today's video, everyone. Thank you very much for watching today.